may also create depression. So if you were without noise for a long period of time, it may along with your belief and your structure as to what to do, create depression, because you don't hear, noises that would help make things peaceful. Even like the ocean, where you hear the ocean with that smooth sound that calms you down. Not basically because of what you see of the ocean moving, but because of how you hear it. And those, again, each noise that when you see a movie, what do they want? If they want comedy, they create a happy, lighter sort of rhythmic sound. So every sound and vibration has a particular above or below kind of sound that would actually help you feel better or feel bad. So they would project these negative noises around individuals in order to get them to feel a sense of rushing or a sense of anger. That's why when people are angry or they're trying to project anger on you, they raise their voice because it's over excessive. It's being loud and disruptive to your thoughts or your hearing, which in turn your thoughts. So it all becomes a procedure, and then you have a procedure of, well, I'm going to put earplugs on, or I'm going to put something else on, or some sound below, sounds to relax me if they're trying to make me feel anxious, and if they're trying to get me to feel depressed, I put some sounds that'll speed it up. So you will know the procedure and the solution, and you will you won't give in or give them the satisfaction of coming up with a negative solution. In other words, these people blowing their horn, you go out there and start fighting with everybody blowing their horn, and they'll be like, this guy's an idiot, look at him. And then they'll probably try to stop blowing their horn, and then call the police, and then you blow the horn once, and they start jumping down your throat, and the police is like, what's wrong with you? What are you You're attacking everybody's blowing their horn because you were conditioned that way to poking the bear. And by the time the cops come to try to, I couldn't tell you how many times that these people anger somebody. Generally, they've done that to me. They just angered me and then angered me and then walked away and then tried to get one guy to subtly anger me. And by that time, they're calling a psychiatrist or the police. But I wasn't falling for that. And by the time the psychiatrist and the police come, I'll be all calm. I don't answer right away. I never raise my voice. And the police is like, well, you calling me for this guy? What's the problem? And they're pissed off because they wanted you to act a fool, but it makes them look like the fool. And it was like, you better not call me for this crap again, or I'm gonna lock you up. I'm gonna lock you up. And sometimes you get a corrupt cop. They, even after seeing you all calm, they'll lock you up. But again, it makes them look worse. At one point, you can have 10 cops just around you, and they're just frustrated because you committed no crime, that you've done no wrong, and they're just walking. You have 8 cops around you, or 20 cops around you. They're just walking around you in circles, just doing nothing. I guess they're just like saying bread and butter, like idiots. And here you are just standing on the street, just looking at them, surrounding you, but they're not giving you any orders. You already gave me your ID. What do they want? And you committed nothing. You've done nothing wrong. But I guess they're looking to lock you up for something. They're hoping you, I don't know, drop your pencil to say, oh, this guy's littering. He's a menace to society. But you don't do none of that, and here you are. You're just standing there in disbelief. Like, is this... what the heck? Are these guys okay? And then you're wondering, well, who's the lunatic? Who's running this asylum? What's going on? You got all these cops just walking around you, just like in the days, like... aren't you supposed to be out there stopping crime? And here they're just walking around you, bread and butter. They're not pulling out their guns. They're not yelling at me. They're just there. I guess they're using intimidation, but they're not really intimidating because, I mean, they're intimidated by their sure numbers. But they're not like pulling out their guns out and beating the hell out of me. I guess it looks even worse. It's like, you mean to tell me you 12 officers came to this guy? I didn't have no cameras on me. I didn't give them any reason for anything. I'm walking the street, just whistling. Like, I'm having a great day, la, la, la. And then here you go, these cops, okay, let me get your ID. You know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they told, what did they say? They said I was lurking. And I was in the light. How would I be lurking? Oh, because I stopped 1 second to look at my watch, because I noticed him looking at me. I guess he got pissed off that I looked at my watch to see how long is he going to be observing me, or how long am I under surveillance, because, you know, body language is a language. So that incited him to harangue me and harass me. And so while I'm looking at my watch, next thing you know, I got 20 cops, or I got all these cops around me. And, you know, I know that part was intimidation. And, but after that, they're just standing there, just all of us just standing together, nobody doing nothing, just them walking around, like, just acting like, I don't know what they was acting like this is all normal. And I just say bread and butter. This means like these people are just being idiots saying bread and butter because they got nothing to do. It's just bread and butter, like, blah, 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 la, 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 la. And meanwhile, within about a mile radius around me, there's nobody around in the streets. You know, there wasn't many people. There was no reason for them to be there. I'm in front of an empty lot. I'm just having a brisk walk. It's almost like they were trying to intimidate me to go back home and just stay there, so I couldn't either talk or do nothing. Sometimes they do that too. Negative people don't want you to share what you know, just to keep people ignorant. But in any case, that's what happened. And then I was waiting for them to say something, do something. But I'm standing there, la la la, and I'm just looking around. I said, "Is this real, or am I dreaming this? What's going on?" So then I said, forget it. You know, I just went back home, because every couple of steps there was another cop. Another cop car, a couple steps, there's another cop car, and they're all looking at me. And each one's looking at me, or sometimes they play like they're not looking at me. But eventually you'll be like, you know, I'm just going to go home and barbecue some chicken, because these people are just, I don't know. They're trying to create this sometimes they do that. They try to separate you from anybody talking to you, because they don't want you to free people's minds, because for them that's a problem. So every problem then requires an automatic solution, as in a procedure. And so hopefully, you don't give them the satisfaction of coming and doing as they do, as a negative, into being in a behavior in which is self-defeating to you, and actually helps them, in their case, to achieving their negative objectives. So you may want to have a plan before acting carelessly. In other words, don't be quick to act, because that's the first impulse the negative wants you to say. You know what, just slap this guy and just beat the hell out of this guy. The guy didn't say more than 2 words, but your first impulse is just to go ramble on him. So it's your best interest to be cool, to control yourself and not hate your neighbor, even though they hate you, because their judgment is clouded, and they want your judgment to be clouded as well, so they can use your negative against you. They may want you to move, so you may want to set up something that reflects their particular sound, if they're just projecting sound, so knowing how to defeat that sound. So if they're enticing you with negative words as you're walking by, you can have earphones, or you can just have a beatbox that just defeats their sound. Depending, I call it DJing their sound. So whatever sound they come up with that's negative, you can DJ that sound. So if they're really loud and obnoxious, if you're feeling below, you may want to DJ their sound with something hip hop like. or rock-like. But if you're feeling too elevated, you may have something more like smooth jazz. But you never want to be louder than them, because sometimes they'll say you're disturbing the peace. So you have it slightly lower, but it's just following, because you can pick and choose the sounds that you follow. That's just how good your mind and your hearing works, that you can pinpoint the rhythm you want to follow. Not to mention, there's also soundproofing. Again, following the solution, especially today's technology, they got a lot of great soundproofing, and a lot of exercises you can use to not let you fall into these negative people who are doing this and projecting these negatives. Another way would be like, always hearing car alarms every 20 minutes, like a clock, 20 minutes. Doo, doo, doo. But it goes on. Anything with sound can be projective in a negative way. Now, of course, these are, you can come up with the positive solutions, and negative solutions end up in front page of newspapers where people end up with mass casualties. But, you don't do that, nor is it recommended, because then that's self-defeating, and it takes you to an energy that you always lose. Everyone loses in that sort of negative solution. So it said choose a solution that you could win, and that's with given positive subjects. And so any given subject that there is that you want to give, use the correct solution, the correct timing, and know how to identify it correctly, keeping track correctly, and having the correct solution and the correct action, so they don't use reverse policy. And if they do, you could see that you are absolved of all these behaviors that they had implied or directly stated that you had done when you did not when you actually did the correct solution for the correct problem. And the negative people want to keep everybody in the dark, because they win through, again, for the majority of ignorance. They went through the majority of ignorance, but if it was just a regular procedure to teach the human instruction, then the majority of ignorance will switch from the majority of ignorance to the majority of enlightenment, and therefore changing the whole entire structure of the organization. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to hurt anybody, even these evil people. Actually, it's quite the opposite. The evil people may then have to become greater people, because to control a bunch of fools is easy, but to control a bunch of geniuses that know exactly the way things go, I wouldn't even say control, but at least guide in a way that it's helpful to all, including themselves, is beneficial to them. So although they may not admit it and fight like heck to stop the attainment of enlightenment throughout the world, as it should have been since Adam, they do the reverse and continue on the confusion of Lucifer for all these thousands of years. Many of us fall short because we are never given the chance to understand the truth, therefore can end up as a product of negative conditioning. Now, the fact that you are hearing this instruction will gives you the insight. Actually, I've written that you're reading this book, but I couldn't find a publisher. I even made the book myself and delivered to publishers, but they just kept my money and my stamps. I tell them, if you don't want it, send me the money back. I'll give you the money. I send them money and my stamps. But every time I sent out a book, and it took me, it cost me money to make these books and send them out. They keep all my books. They all disappeared. Never seen another one. Every now and then I may sell one on a down low to a student or a person that's like, hey man, won't you hit me up with some of that knowledge? Because some people just some people be like, well, I want more, and they're holding on to me. Like, I was like, look, man, in order for me to teach you all this, we got to go on top of a mountain, and then I got to just teach you. That's why I'm doing this. I try to make the book form, but they keep getting lost. Who knows where they're going? But I can't just keep spending all that money and then never getting a penny back for my efforts. And it was a lot of effort I was doing into creating these books, and a lot of money. But some books, every now and then I see a charity case, I may give them a book and teach them something. But in general, I try to get at least a couple dollars, but it's difficult because these people are like, they don't want this stuff to be known, so they're just trying to bury this stuff. So hopefully this will get out. It'll be easier because then at least, I think for me it costs less to digitally record it and just email certain sections out, as opposed to keep making these paper copies that if you make too many of them, it weighs a lot. Then you got to get pallets, you got to put in your house. Then I got to go out and I got to actually teach people, and there's always something that pops up. Somebody somewhere usually try to stop it, and because I don't have people listening to it, it's not getting out there. Usually I won't bother to do that, but I feel obliged to do it because like Jonah, he didn't want to do what was best, and he ended up learning that what was best was actually what was best, and he tried to delay the inevitable what was best, and he felt the consequences because he was appointed to do so. So I feel obliged and earnest, grateful that I was given that opportunity to do this and to spread the enlightenment and help with the enlightenment that people are hemorrhaging and awakening from, to help it along so these people themselves can do and gain their further understanding without any without being obligated to some person to say, oh, well, now you're my loyal followers. No. Here's the book, knock yourself out, make it happen, see you later. Don't tell me about it, just make it work. I'm like some people, Christians, they'll go in there, they'll move in, and it was like, all right, we're Christians, we're going to teach you this, now you're our slaves. You got to do what we say, you got to change your names, you got to, no, none of that. Here's a book, learn it, study it, knock yourself out, God bless you, I hope it all works out. And then it does. But I'm not asking you for anything. I'm just, let's make it happen. Therefore, contributing, knowing that I gave the good and you gave the good. We could both share and love and honor one another without having to be like, well, you're obligated, having an ulterior motive for doing good, but following with evil. So policies aren't always the same, and they can change due to change from location to location. And sometimes negative people change them on purpose in order for you to not know exactly what the rules are, what's going on, or what are the procedures. So one could be a procedure or a policy today, and then tomorrow be changed, and the next week could be changed, always claiming to be things are changing, things are changing. But again, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Had you known this knowledge since Adam, you would have been considered one of the greatest people, because it goes into all sciences, whether it's computers or whether it's you name the science or the knowledge of it. It all works the same way. It's always the same steps. It's always the same procedure. If you're doing it correctly, it's easiest, the simplest, and there's no need to change it, but they'll confuse it. So instead of doing always the correct way, you'll be like, oh, that's not the correct way? No, well, what's the correct way? They'll confuse it. So then you're going left to right, left to right, left to right. You're not learning anything, but you're going from one procedure to to the next procedure, always doing it incorrectly, making it not safe nor efficient. And these formulated procedures usually are overkill or incorrect, or creating an unsafe and confusing or prolonged procedures. And an example would be like, you go to the register for